likely suspect because he's going to lose his job and these sorts of things. And now he loves his job even more because now he's got, instead of having to buy names, you know how hard it is to buy stocks and beat the market? Now he's got great tools and a great partner where you can just push and pull the levers. Right? So he really likes that. And then along the way, they lost, the dividend trade lost luster. And it was underperforming. There's a new CIO. And they're like, the new CIO was more total return based, less book income driven, so he didn't care about dividend. He didn't care about taxes, so kind of a new regime in town. They're like, wow, this QDS is a dog, right? Jettison these guys. And where we played defense, the scramble was to say, well, the dividend trade's over, okay? But, you know, the factor-based approach is the right one. You understand it, you understand what we do, and so we really kind of upsold for a higher fee QDF, which was underperforming, into MFP, our multi-factor portfolio, which is all our factors.
Same kind of total market, U.S. market exposure? Okay.
Yeah.
They keep Bob.
They kept Bobby B, and then they kept the Russell Top 200. Now they introduced along the way, they introduced a mid-cap allocations. We don't really have a mid-cap solution. But they introduced Pico and Boston Partners as a mid-cap active provider. But other than that, like we got that, and then like I said, we got over on the DB side, the DC side, and it's been Amcham's been the gift that keeps on giving, and a great advocate, and a great referral from, like I said, ex ante, the unusual suspect.
I'm going to take a break talking to Garrett and Colleen. Let's do Stefan. I know you got
for me, at Grange, for example,
yeah.
Who are you calling on? Who is the
CIO.
CIO, okay.
So at insurance companies, we're calling them CIOs in name, role, or title. Sometimes there is a CIO. Sometimes it's a treasurer who acts as a CIO. Sometimes it's a CFO who acts as a CIO. There's just all kinds of different models, right? And it's just a legacy issue of how important and the way they recognize, you know, the role of the investments in their portfolio. If there's 1,000 people in an insurance company, 998 of them are like all speak the same language, look the same, and are focused in the same place, right? Underwriting, claims, sales, right? Finance, these sorts of things. And then there's two dudes in the back, all the way in the back, right? And they got brown suits and brown shoes on, and they got a Bloomberg. And nobody knows who they are. They talk a totally different language, right? And right, that's kind of like classic, like
that's the equity portfolio guys.
Well, right, yeah, and either they're buying bonds and playing in the equity marketplace, or maybe they're overseeing a multi-manager type solution, or
For those CIO, is that a CIO?
One of them might be the CIO, right?
Equity.
Right, it could be that. Like at Grange, so he is the treasurer and CIO. He buys his own bonds and he outsources his equities. And he's got a staff of 2 or 3. But they're just kind of buying homes. So they just look at it and they're like, well, how hard is it to buy investment grade bonds? And that's kind of their argument. Yeah. And 20, 30 years ago, I mean, it was almost a necessity that you did it that way because there wasn't this insurance asset management industry. They would say, how hard is it? And why do I need to pay you 25 basis points? I got, 3 people. And the holy grail I want on that side is just to show them, like, execution. Yeah. Like, you're paying for it. Like, you're just paying for it a different way. You've got broken deals, your friend.
What since this question, because I thought about it, is so all the stuff with American Family was really right as QDS was starting to like shine, right, and build its U.S. record. Was that a consideration for them at all? I mean, I don't know how the multi-factor portfolio in effect works. It's like QLCC basically with a volume variance thing. I don't know. Was QLV a option for them in that discussion?
So our longest, most sophisticated factor investor at AmFam was like, look, yes, it was an option. We tried to take them down that path. And they're like, look, we've listened, we've paid attention for the past 10 years, and you've told us don't sign factors. Sell out of QDF and go into QLV. We're doing exactly what you told us not to. So they're like, stop bringing us these one-factor solutions. We want everything. What's your best ideas?
Interesting.
So
great client.
We built MFP, which is literally like all 6 factors, and it's underperforming.
That's right. By a lot.
By a lot. Yes.
It should take that off the daily report.
Yes. So at the time, TLD was nascent. MSP was non-existent, and so they said, like, because we kept giving them, like, well, how much QDF plus QLD? Like, we kept it, and it's like, you guys kept telling us, don't time factors, and now you're forcing us to. Like, no.
Well, the underperformance couldn't happen to a better client, right?
Correct.
Yes. Scott.
Correct. One who understands, one who gets it, one who's patient, but, oh my Lord, yeah, I mean,
yeah. So, I'm sorry, Gary.
No, I was just going to ask, like, what's going on with all these equity? They're only taking chances in the equity side with the surpluses, right? So,
for the most part,
like, so what's
for their PE, that's how they think about their PE.
So what's been going on with those surplus levels the last few years?
Surplus gone up, yeah. Capitalization, so the surplus is the retained earnings of an insurance company, so what's left over, so their assets, the liabilities or claim on their assets, and whatever's left over is surplus, hence the name, but it's really just kind of retained earnings or the shareholders' equity, as it would be called in the capital markets. It's gone up, and also the storms have been benign.
Yeah. But given the rules of the model, like stock buyback and stuff, they've been eating into that to do that, like the public funds or anything like that. Have they been using that?
They probably have.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, they probably have.
Like, how nervous are they about the equity risk in the surplus?
So I would say they're nervous about equity markets because they're uber conservative and kind of old school investors. That being said, I think they also kind of take that again, it's gas pedal brake pedal, so they'll never get totally out. They'll always be in the equity markets, and it's just, should I take that next dollar and put it there or not? And I think a lot of them kind of come to the conclusion that, well, is it more likely the equity market's going to go up or down? And if there's more downside than there's upside, then I won't take that next marginal dollar and put it there. Maybe I'll risk off. And so the other theme is the entire world is de-risking, right? Pension plans are de-risking, family. Everybody's de-risking. And in your textbook of 101, how do you de-risk? You take it out of equities and literally stick it in fixed income. But you can't do that because fixed income marketplace is also overpriced, which means yields are low, which means you're not going to meet your return target. So another part of the story is, I appreciate you want to de-risk, and you need to de-risk by being more active about your equities. Right? So Grange, you can't just reduce your equity allocation from index. Where do you stick it? You're not going to keep growing, your surplus. So you want to be smarter about your equities. You want to de-risk your equities without leaving equities.
So let's talk about the return target piece. This is the first time I've heard you mention it. So did they, the deep public plans, they have a very public target and, this gap that they're experiencing. How do they set their return target for the equity?
All of them.
Right. So and are they uniformly falling short now or not really? They probably haven't been.
They probably, again, they look at it from a policy standpoint.
Okay.
They've probably been falling short for 10 years. Just because the yields have eroded.
Oh, from the entire portfolio.
Yeah, for the entire portfolio.
Not the equity portion, but the
we still tail of the dog.
Where are they in fixed income? Primarily because credit and okay. So that's why they're
and they also, remember, they measure their performance from an accounting standpoint. So they kind of usually have these like book yield targets.
It doesn't really matter as long as it matches within a range of whatever their liability is.
I think CFOs and CEOs look at the investment portfolio and say, like, go get me 6 or 7%. That's your job. Because for the 80s and 90s and 2000s, like, that was kind of what the portfolio did. It just steadily returned 6 7%.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it was a shock to them for the CIOs to explain to the CEOs what happened during a crisis. Like, do you understand when we go out and buy new bonds, they have a one handle on them?
Right. That's a big gap.
Right, it's a huge gap. So I think when I think about performance, they saw that degrading kind of book yield, and they're like, I got to shore it up somehow, and that's why they like dividend spread.
So in this gap, about 15 minutes left here, the two things, one question on the gap, and then I want to go to the de-risking and the volatility argument, right? So on the gap, they've been underperforming because 80% is in bonds, and bonds have been 1, now 2.25, right? So they've had this problem. You said the surplus is going up. It's probably because of claims, just kind of
Their underwriting's good, correct.
Their underwriting's good, or the premium's high for both, right?
Correct.
Do they have latitude, or have you seen some of these insurance say, listen, we're just not going to get there with a 90% portfolio in investment grade credit. We're just not going to meet, certainly not going to meet the policy goal, but a business goal. Have you seen people say, well, we're going to carve up 10 more %. We're just going to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
They're all saying that. That's why they all got into alts big in the last 10 years. That's why all the alts providers are suddenly showing up at insurers' doorsteps, where traditionally these were way too risky, way too illiquid for insurance investment committees. And they went in whole hog into private credit, bank loans, structured, leasing, securitizations, distressing, anything that has, so the Fed's work worked is it pushed everybody out on the risk spectrum, especially insurers. So how am I going to hit my 6-7% bogey?
Right. Just load up on real estate and private credit.
Yep.
I would have thought, though, they'd still to expand their liquid equity position, especially watching the last,
So again, they in their mind share, they overweight the value of income. Right. So yes, you know what they should have done? They should have just gone in the S&P 500, and they would have rocked it, right? But in their mind, they're like, no, but I want that income, right? Again, market up and down, that's a one-off in their mindset, right? I want that repeatable